Is there anything better than a Trump rally? What about a sleepy Joe Biden rally? Right? Boy, he's made some beauties. I sort of hope it's him. I don't mind any of them. You got Pocahontas is rising. You got Kamala. Kamala is falling. You got Beto. Beto is like gone. But we'll see what happens. Whoever it is, I don't know that it matters, but whoever it is, different people. But I don't know. I think Sleepy Joe may be able to limp across the finish line. But today they announced that they're going to cut way back on his appearances because he is such a disaster. They're going to have fewer appearances. You've heard that, right? This is serious. They're going to cut way back on his appearances. Can you believe it? If I ever did that, it would be over. The fake news would get us, but we don't let them get us, and it is fake. And today, the deputy editor of the New York Times was demoted. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? All the news that's not fit to print, you know? All the news, the fake, failing New York Times. And you can't really go by my election. You got to go by November 9th because, you know, the markets have gone through the roof since November 9th. That's the day after I won the election. So I won the election. The markets went up thousands of points. Things started happening. You started doing things that you would have never, even though I didn't get sworn in until January 20th. But they refused to do that. And let me tell you, if for some reason I wouldn't have won the election, these markets would have crashed. And that'll happen even more so in 2020. See, the bottom line is, I know you like me, and this room is a love fest, I know that, but you have no choice but to vote for me because your 401ks, down the tubes, everything's going to be down the tubes. So whether you love me or hate me, you got to vote for me. Together, we're restoring this nation's industrial might, and we are doing it with American iron, American aluminum, and American steel. We're doing steel. Steel industry is hot. They were dumping steel all over. They were destroying our companies. U.S. Steel now, all of them, they're all expanding. The steel industry is back. It's doing great. We're opening up mines in Minnesota, the great state of Minnesota. They have magnificent mines that have the best iron ore in the world, and President Obama closed them down. Maybe we can get Representative Omar from Minnesota to open them up, but I don't think so. She'll open them up. I don't think so. Representative Omar, that's another one. And you've been reading about this a lot lately. We are working very hard to make sure we keep guns out of the hands of insane people and those who are mentally sick and shouldn't have guns. But people have to remember, however, that there is a mental illness problem that has to be dealt with. It's not the gun that pulls the trigger. It's the person holding the gun. Years ago, many cities and states, I remember it so well, closed mental institutions for budgetary reasons. They let those people out onto the street. You probably have your examples up here. I can tell you in New York, they closed so many of them, and they let really seriously mentally ill people out on the streets. And you see plenty of them today, even today. We're going to have to give major consideration to building new facilities for those in need. We have to do it. And at the same time, we will be taking mentally deranged and dangerous people off of the streets, so we won't have to worry so much about that. A big problem. We don't have those institutions anymore, and people can't get proper care. They're seriously ill people, and they're on the streets. We can't make it harder for good, solid, law-abiding citizens to protect themselves. We will always uphold the right to self-defense, and we will always uphold the Second Amendment. We will. We're investing in the future of human spaceflight, and someday soon American astronauts will plant the stars and stripes on the surface of Mars. And I told my guys at NASA, you know, NASA, when we took it over, it was exhausted. The runways and the grounds had all weeds growing through the cracks in the concrete. You wouldn't recognize it now. It's beautiful. It's the best place anywhere on Earth. And I also said, though, you know, I hear all these rich guys, for some reason, they love space. So they're rich. I said, let them send the rockets up. What the hell do we have to do it, right? So I see Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. They're putting rockets up. I think it's great. And they pay us rent. They use our facility. That's good. But we're also doing it. And NASA has some of the greatest plans we've ever had. These are great people, great scientists. But we also let the private sector put up rockets. The one which recently went up, and you see the engines coming back down, and they're coming. There's no wings, no nothing. It's almost like, what are we watching? Is this fiction? And they come down, and they save all of the propellants, all of the really the most expensive parts. They're able to save it by bringing it back right to where it took off. Who would think they could do this? I never saw this before 6 months ago, but they're doing it now more and more. They're saving a lot of the most important and expensive parts of rockets. So we have a lot of rich guys paying us a lot of rent, but we're also doing it ourselves.